Welcome to A Year of War and Peace. I'm your host, Brian E. Denton. A Year of War and Peace is a daily, year-long, chapter-by-chapter reading of and meditation on Leo Tolstoy's epic novel, War and Peace. In these videos and podcasts, you'll be treated to a free reading of one chapter per day of the novel, plus a reflective essay I've written individually tailored to that day's chapter. These readings are offered for free, though if you'd like to support me, you can do so in one of three ways. First, you could purchase my ebook, A Year of War and Peace. It features the entire novel, plus all of my reflective essays, and it's only $2.99 on Amazon.com. You could also become a patron at patreon.com/BrianEDenton. If you sign up there, you'll receive a sonnet once a month, plus a link to an ebook of my collected sonnets. Finally, if you like, you can make a one-time donation to my PayPal account. The email there is brianedenton@gmail.com. You can also use that email to contact me. I'd be happy to hear from you. Your support is greatly appreciated.
Today's reading and reflection is on Chapter 81. Chapter 81. It was long since Rostov had felt such enjoyment from music as he did that day. But no sooner had Natasha finished her barcarolle than reality again presented itself. He got up without saying a word and went downstairs to his own room. A quarter of an hour later, the old count came in from his club, cheerful and contented. Nicholas, hearing him drive up, went to meet him. "Well, had a good time?" said the old count, smiling gaily and proudly at his son. Nicholas tried to say yes, but could not, and he nearly burst into sobs. The count was lighting his pipe and did not notice his son's condition. Can't be avoided," thought Nicholas, for the first and last time. And suddenly, in the most casual tone, which made him feel ashamed of himself, he said, as if merely asking his father to let him the carriage to drive to town, "Papa, I've come on a matter of business. I was nearly forgetting. I need some money." "Dear me," said his father, who was in especially good humor. "I told you it would not be enough. How much?" "Very much," said Nicholas, flushing, and with a stupid, careless smile, for which he was long unable to forgive himself. "I have lost a little, a good deal, a great deal, 43,000. "What? To whom? Nonsense!" cried the count, suddenly reddening with an apoplectic flush over his neck and nape, as old people do. "I promise to pay tomorrow," said Nicholas. "Well," said the old count, spreading out his arms and sinking helplessly on the sofa. "It can't be helped. It happens to everyone," said the son, with a bold, free, and easy tone, while in his soul he regarded himself as a worthless scoundrel, whose whole life could not atone for this crime. He longed to kiss his father's hands and kneel to beg his forgiveness, but said in a careless and even rude voice that it happens to everyone. The old count cast down his eyes on hearing his son's words and began bustingly searching for something. Yes, he muttered. "It will be difficult, I fear. Difficult to raise. Happens to everybody, yes. Who has not done it?" And with a furtive glance at his son's face, the count went out of the room. Nicholas had been prepared for resistance, but had not at all expected this. "Papa, Papa," he called after him, sobbing, "forgive me." And seizing his father's hand, he pressed it to his lips and burst into tears. While father and son were having their explanation, the mother and daughter were having one not less important. Natasha came running to her mother, quite excited. Mama, he has made me..." "Made what?" "Made me an offer, Mama, she exclaimed. The countess did not believe her ears. Denisov had proposed. To whom? To this chit of a girl, Natasha, who not so long ago was playing with dolls and was still having lessons? "Don't, Natasha, what nonsense," she said, hoping it was a joke. "Nonsense indeed. I am telling you the fact," said Natasha indignantly. "I come to ask you what to do, and you call it nonsense." The countess shrugged her shoulders. "If it is true that Monsieur Denisov has made you a proposal, tell him he is a fool, that's all." "No, he's not a fool," replied Natasha indignantly and seriously. "Well then, what do you want? You're all in love nowadays. Well, if you are in love, marry him," said the countess with a laugh of annoyance. "Good luck to you." "No, I'm not in love with him. I suppose I'm not in love with him." "Well then, tell him so." "Mama, are you cross? Don't be cross, dear. Is it my fault?" "No, but what is it, my dear? Do you want me to go and tell him?" said the Countess, smiling. "No, I will do it myself. Only tell me what to say." "It's all very well for you," said Natásha, with a responsive smile. "You should have seen how he said it. I know he did not mean to say it, but it came out accidentally." "Well, all the same, you must refuse him." "No, I mustn't. I'm so sorry for him. He's so nice." "Well then, accept his offer. It's high time for you to be married," answered the Countess sharply and sarcastically. "No, Mamma, but I'm so sorry for him. I don't know how to say it." "There's nothing for you to say. I shall speak to him myself," said the Countess, indignant that they should have dared to treat this little Natásha as a grown-up. "No, not on my account. I will tell him myself, and you'll listen at the door." And Natásha ran across the drawing-room to the dancing hall, where Denísov was sitting on the same chair by the clavichord with his face in his hands. He jumped up at the sight of her steps. "Natalie," he said, moving with rapid steps toward her, "decide my fate. It is in your hands." "Vasily Dmitrich, I'm so sorry for you. No, but you are so nice, but it won't do. Not that. But as a friend, I shall always love you." Denísov bent over her hand, and she heard strange sounds she did not understand. She kissed his rough, curly black head. At this instant, they heard the quick rustle of the Countess's dress. She came up to them. "Vasily Dmitrich, I shall thank you for the honor," she said, with an embarrassed voice, though it sounded severe to Denísov. "But my daughter is so young, and I thought that, as my son's friend, you would have addressed yourself first to me. In that case, you would have not obliged me to give this refusal." "Countess," said Denísov, with downcast eyes and a guilty face. He tried to say more, but faltered. Natásha could not remain calm, seeing him in such a plight. She began to sob aloud. "Countess, I have done wrong," Denísov went on in an unsteady voice. "But believe me, I so adore your daughter and all your family that I would give my life twice over." He looked at the Countess, and seeing her severe face, said, "Well, goodbye, Countess." And kissing her hand, he left the room with quick, resolute strides, without even once looking at Natásha. Next day, Rostov saw Denísov off. He did not wish to stay another day in Moscow. All Denísov's Moscow friends gave him a farewell entertainment at the Gypsies, with the result that he had no recollection of how he was put in the sleigh or of the first 3 stages of his journey. After Denísov's departure, Rostov spent another fortnight in Moscow, without going out of the house, waiting for the money his father could not at once raise, and he spent most of his time in the girls' room. Sonia was more tender and devoted to him than ever. It was as if she wanted to show him that his losses were an achievement that made her love him all the more, but Nicholas now considered himself unworthy of her. He filled the girls' albums with verses of music, and having at last sent Dólokhov the whole 43,000 rubles and received his receipt, he left at the end of November, without taking leave of any of his acquaintances, to overtake his regiment, which was already in Poland. All right, so that concludes my reading of Chapter 81 of War and Peace. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll now move on to my reflection on the same. A Year of War and Peace, Day 81. Tomorrow never knows. In War and Peace, Tolstoy often takes a topic, say social life or grief, and presents 2 responses to that topic from 2 different characters within the same chapter. Today, the topic is impulsivity. By now, we're well aware of Nicholas Rostov's problems with impulsivity. We've spent the last few chapters watching him ruin his life because of his inability to tame it. In today's chapter, he is tasked with asking his father for the money he lost to Dólokhov. It's not an easy task. He blunders through it entirely. This isn't to say that he fails to ask for the money. Rather, he asks for it in a childish and impetuous manner, as if what he has done is really no thing at all. It's quite disgraceful. But he can't just contain his impulsive instinct to play the innocent. He does, however, realize his errors because he breaks out into sobs and begs his father's forgiveness. Across the house, Natásha deals with her own problems of impulsivity. Her problems, however, being of a more innocent nature, are more easily forgiven. What we've seen in Natásha over the course of the novel so far is her desire for maturity. It's clear that she yearns for womanhood, and yet at the same time, she seems as if she can't escape some of her childish ways. Today, for instance, when Denísov proposes marriage to her, she cannot assume the adult role and deal with his ill-advised proposal herself. Instead, she resorts to her mother. As the novel progresses, we'll see more and more how Natasha, at least for now, struggles to abandon her childish ways on her path towards adulthood. It's clear that both Natasha and Nicholas seek reform. They both would like to be less impulsive. The problem shared by everyone, is that more often than not this reform is put off until a later date. I'm sure that's a familiar refrain for most readers. Sure, we'd like to lose weight, but maybe just for today, we can eat that chocolate cake. We'll start our diet tomorrow. For real this time. But the problem with putting things off until tomorrow is that tomorrow never arrives. It's always, to paraphrase a hero of my childhood, a day away. So too, then, is the project of reform. Daily meditation. When you have remitted your attention for a short time, do not imagine this, that you will recover it when you choose, but let this thought be present to you, that in consequence of the fault committed today, your affairs must be in a worse condition for all that follows. For first, and what causes most trouble, a habit of not attending is formed in you. Then a habit of deferring your attention, and continually from time to time you drive away by deferring it the happiness of life, proper behavior, than being and living comfortably to nature. Epictetus, The Discourses. All right, so that concludes my reading and reflection on chapter 81 of War and Peace. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. Thanks for listening. Remember that if you'd like to support me, you can do so either by purchasing the ebook, A Year of War and Peace, becoming a patron at patreon.com, or making a one-time donation at PayPal. The links to all that are below. Your support is greatly appreciated. Tomorrow we will be reading and reflecting on chapter 82. I hope you'll join me. Until then, take care of yourselves and others.